Are you ready to embark on a transformative journey? Hi, I am Sharon Kumara, host of Awakened Soul. By tuning into Awakened Soul Radio, you will be inspired to shed the illusions that bind you, connect more deeply with your inner wisdom, and step into a liberating life of freedom, clarity, and purpose. Each episode, I share stories and lessons learned that help cultivate greater compassion, patience, and understanding, qualities to embody in everyday life. I invite you to join in as we expand our awareness, exploring diverse topics, and gain access to practical tools, guided exercises, and expert advice to help overcome fears and break the chains that bind us. Join us on Awakened Soul. Your journey to freedom and true self begins here. Hello, everyone. Welcome to Awakened Soul Radio. And those of you watching on Ascension Gateway, welcome, welcome. I am your host, Sharon Sananda Kumara, and I am very excited. I have my dear friend, Christina Renee, with me here today. Hi, Christina.
Hi, Sharon. Thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited about
Yeah,
this.
good, good. Yes, we are going to talk to you about, and together, of course, the amazing work of what is called the Way of Mastery. But before we dive into that, I want to share that I am also the author of Awakened Soul, the book right here, where it chronicles my NDE. Well, actually, two NDEs, but the one that was pivotal in my life in 2001. And you can find that on Amazon. Christ is a huge driving force in my life. And it did start with the NDE. I was raised Catholic, but I've shared before, but I wasn't a good Catholic. So this started after I was connected with Christ in a very tangible way. And we're going to talk about how our lives have totally been changed dramatically with this connection with Christ, the one we know as Jeshua, Jesus Christ, all of that, and how you can also, if you want to, deepen your connection and how it feels, and find how it feels to be in love, in love with yourself, in love with God, in love with the Christ within, in love with Him through these studies right here. Christina.
Uh, yeah. So as you were saying, that you too can have a life-changing experience. It just these works, the works of the Way of Mastery are guides. They're literally guides that tell you, they're manuals
Mhm.
that say, this is what we've been taught. This is how to change your mind, and here are practices to get you there. So it's not just like words on a paper. It's a relationship, and it's his guidance through these works.
Yes, totally. And people may have heard of A Course in Miracles from the, when was that written, in the 70s or 80s, I think, or
Yes,
channeled?
late 70s, I think, is when she started to scribe. But
Okay. Okay.
yeah.
Yeah. And that's something that I studied, or that Yeshua brought into my awareness back in 2001, 2000, well, after my NDE, 2002, around there. And it was at the time, it was pretty deep for me. Or I'm not even sure I know the word. So I'm like, oh, okay. I'm just going to put it on my nightstand next to my bed. He said, just put it there and don't worry about it. So I put it on my nightstand. I carried it around with me, and I felt like I was absorbing the information that way. What do you say about that? Have you ever have you ever done anything like that?
Oh yeah, I do that all the time actually. That's what I was doing with the Way of Mastery when it was first introduced to me. I was attending a study group, but I would just play it at night while I was sleeping.
Yeah.
And I definitely I feel that. And I want to say a few things about A Course in Miracles as well. I was led by Jesus, Yeshua, to the Way of Mastery prior to and right before I was led to A Course in Miracles. And I actually feel like the Course in Miracles is almost like a predecessor to the Way
Mm.
of Mastery. And what I love about Yeshua, Jesus, I say both, but what I love about him is that he really tells you how to do all of this. So what I love about these books and the works that Yeshua gives us is that they're literally manuals. He gives
Yes.
you everything you need to heal your mind and then to learn how to create with the mind of God.
Perfect. Perfect. So before we dive in, Christina, I just want to share that Christina was visited by Christ, by Yeshua in her room at one time or I don't know how many times, maybe more in your life. Would you like to share that just a little tiny bit? I know I did an
Yeah.
interview with you, and so people can check her out on my YouTube channel where she
Yeah.
shared a lot more about her experience.
Yeah. Well, so the letters to Yeshua I haven't actually read yet, but when I went to go and order it, the caption said, "Has Jesus ever visited you in your living room?" And I was like, "He has. He has." So I had I mean, I just call it a near-death experience, but it was a couple of days after my experience. I overdosed, I blacked out, I came to, and a couple of days later, I was in my living room and I had a friend from Texas fly in. She was doing some channeling. I really don't know. I was in a fog, but I remember as soon as she was done, I opened my eyes and Jesus was right in front of me, and Buddha and Mary were
Mm,
also there. And for me, from that point on, that has been my trio of ascended masters, guides, but Jesus really, he was in the middle, and he's really stood out in my life. I was raised Catholic too. Didn't really understand the religion, but had a connection to Jesus throughout that. That's also in that episode that we talked about my experience. So if you want more information on that, go watch that episode. But
yeah.
so right after I was visited, right after Jesus came to me in my living room, I was invited to a Way of Mastery study group. And I didn't know what it was, but I was like, that sounds good. I'll go. and and so I learned that it was described, it was a channeled work, and it was Yeshua who was giving us the Way of Mastery. And right after that, I was introduced to the Course of Miracles. So I did it kind of backwards, even though I believe the Course of Miracles is the predecessor to the Way of Mastery. I was led to the Way of Mastery and then to Course of Miracles, and they've both been so apparent in my life since then. And that was 13 years ago now.
Yeah. Nice. Thank you for sharing that. Yeah, I'll put the link down to your interview in the details. But that's a good segue into the Yeshua letters, which I was introduced to before the Way of Mastery. I didn't know anything about the Way of Mastery. And I was watching a Jeff Mara podcast, and he was interviewing someone who had a spiritually transformative experience, which is like an NDE, except you don't have the physical trauma. He was doing not doing well with drugs and alcohol, and he was staying at a friend's house. He apparently was getting ready to lose everything, and he saw this book on her shelf, her bookshelf, and he said that he took the book and he started reading it, and he had an experience with Yeshua that blew him away. I don't remember the details other than he came, it was a visitation for him too, in that way, in his that way of him changing his life. And so I said, "Oh, I got to get that book because I've had my own personal tangible experiences with Christ, with Yeshua." And wow. So I got it, and it's a story of this gentleman who calls himself JM now, but his name was Mark when he wrote the book. And he was not a Christian type person or anything like that. Uh, he he Christ appeared to him in his living room I believe, and said, "Hello, Mark. We're going to write books together." And Mark was like, "Okay, I'm hallucinating. You're not here. This isn't happening." And so Yeshua had to work with him in a very intense way to help him realize that, yes, I am here with you. And he helped heal what we all deal with. I dealt with it in the beginning when he was working with me, not feeling worthy of him sitting with us or being with us on a personal level.
Mhm.
We have that programming that we're not worthy. We have to go through some higher, you know, I don't know, priest or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
But that well, Jesus doesn't have time for me, that kind of thing. Yeah, what makes you so special? Well, he
Mhm.
has the ability. He's God in form, and he helps us remember that we are too. So it's a fascinating book about his journey, and it will help. And Yeshua helped him heal that what he was going through, not feeling worthy. He would try, he would do everything he could. When they set an appointment to meet, he would think, okay, well, I got to do laundry. I can't meet. Oh, I got to go to the grocery store, or, oh, I have to send an email to someone. You know how we get in our way and get distracted?
Yeah.
The ego does that. So he writes that story. So and that's how I found out about the Way of Mastery, by reading that book. And what's really funny, at the time, I was working with a couple who had unfortunately lost their son to suicide. And I felt him sitting with me, the son. He would come to me in my out of bodies and stuff. I worked with him a lot. He was is such an amazing young man, and his family too. And he would come to me, and I felt him guiding me toward this book, to get this book, because I was like, okay, well, this is enough. You know what? Why do I need this? But I felt him guiding me to get it. And then the next time I talked to his parents, they told me that their son guided them to get this study guide. Yeah, out of the
Yeah.
blue. We didn't talk about it. So yeah, it was
Yeah.
I love how he works through people in our lives too.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Yeah. And I want to say, about that, what you experienced, and what is it, JM or Yahem? Because I knew him as
Oh,
Mark.
I don't know.
Right. Okay. That not being worthy of a relationship with Jesus or contact, that is one thing that really helps me in. And when you do read The Way of Mastery, in the beginning of every lesson, he says, I come to you as your friend. In the Course of Miracles, he makes it very apparent that there is no space. He's not. I was taught that he was someone, a perfect idol
Hmm.
to look up to or strive to be like. And Yeshua is very adamant about reminding us that we're the same,
Right.
and we can achieve what he achieved. And then he gives us the way of mastery to do that. And
Wow.
so it's, for me, there wasn't a big moment of having to work through my worthiness. It's kind of been a slow process, and he reminds me in all of the work, in every lesson, in every sentence, he reminds me that, I am worthy of this. and
Right.
and I love that. I was thinking about that earlier today before we started this, as we were coming into this recording,
Hmm.
is that, there's a lot of other teachers that teach mastery in this sense, but what's missing is that holiness, that innocence, that love, that Christ mind.
Yeah.
And I feel like that is the essence of that worthiness, that we are loved, that we are holy, we are good. We are good in our hearts, just
Right.
like Christ.
Yes. Yes, there's no difference. And he makes that very clear. And I do believe that these are his true teachings. And I will say that I'm not being paid to,
No,
to put this out there. They don't even know who I am. I
right.
don't know them personally. The Shanti Cristo Foundation. Thank you, Shanti Cristo Foundation for doing this. Thank you, JM, Mark or YM, and thank you, Jesus. Thank you, Yeshua, of course, uh, with all my heart, and for not giving up on us. Don't give up on us. So,
Right.
and Christina and I wanted to make this a series. So, and again, we're not being, paid for this or in any way. And we just think it's just so important that people that be like we have, how it's changed our lives. And all it is basically remembering.
Yes.
And and I like to say that we already know this. He was teaching me this 20 something years ago. And there's a lot of things in here that I'll I'll read it or listen on the Audible too, because I've got both. I'm like, well, you told me that 20 years ago. Now I remember that now. And
Yeah.
and so it's not anything that we're really learning.
Yeah.
We're remembering.
Yeah.
Yeah. And we
Yeah.
just have to
And
get
I
out of our
I
own
want to
way.
add to that, like that's another difference of other things that I've been exposed to. It's not something we're striving for. It's allowance, and he literally says that one of the keys to the kingdom is allowance. And so, as we do the exercises that he offers us in these books, we are shedding that conditioning or those beliefs that are in the way. And I think the course calls it interference,
Mhm.
that are in the way of us remembering the truth of who we are.
Yeah.
But yes, it's a
Perfect.
remembrance, and he
It's,
makes it very clear. So there's really nothing to do. And he says that all the time in this book. We need do nothing.
we need do nothing. That's right.
Yes.
Okay, so this study book, it has three books in it. The study manual has three books: The Way of the Heart, The Way of Transformation, and The Way of Knowing. Um, we are going to start from the beginning, The Way of the Heart. And like I mentioned, Christine and I are going to do a series on each of the books. And then there's one small book after this called The Way of the Servant, which isn't included in this. And um so we're really excited about that. So we're gonna do 3 lessons per show. Number 3.
333. I know. I was thinking about 3 books, 3 lessons.
Yeah, there you go. Really, I didn't even think about that. And then
Yeah.
also we would like to host a study group in person, well, on Zoom, kind
Yeah.
of in person.
A
Yeah,
live study group.
there you go. Live study group through the Kumara Academy community. And if you're interested, then go to the academy and kumaraacademy.com. And or you can email either one of us. We'll have everyone's information down below. And we would love to see you there because it's such amazing stuff and it will help humanity. Every single person needs to know about this. These are his true teachings that were taken away. And I do believe that the teachings that he gave us 2,000 years ago were for today, or
Yeah,
else we wouldn't be here.
absolutely.
Yeah. All right, my dear.
Yeah.
Would
So
you
I
like
think
to
with
start?
that, maybe we both, I feel like it's important for those who are listening to know the synchronicity about how this series came about and how
Yes.
we both decided that we wanted to read this promise that he gives us. And I want to add to that because when Jesus led me to sobriety. So he came to me right after I overdosed and he led me to sobriety. And what I learned when I got sober was that in the big book, when they make promises or they italicize things like those are really important. And so pay
Mhm.
attention. And so when you open this book, it literally in italics says, I promise you this. And I know from my relationship with Jesus, I'm sure that, Sharon, you can attest to this as well, is that his word is his word. He follows
Right.
through. So this is the promise of the book.
Goosebumps.
I will just go and read that right now. So
Okay.
he says, I promise you this. If you become wholly committed to awakening from the dream you have dreamt since the stars first began to appear in the heavens, and if your one desire is to be only what God created, then lay at the altar of your heart with every breath everything you think you know, everything you think you need, and look lovingly upon every place that fear has made a home in your mind, and allow correction to come. It will come, regardless of how you experience it. It will come. And the day and the moment will arise, and all of your pain and fear and suffering will have vanished like a wind that pushes the foam of the wave away, revealing the clarity of the ocean beneath you. You will literally feel throughout your being that there was never a dream. Some memories might remain with you, and you will know that somewhere you must have dreamt a dream or had a thought of wondering what it would be like to be other than the way God created you, but it will be such a faint echo that it will leave no trace upon you. In your heart, you will smile gently, regardless of the circumstances in which you find yourself. There will be peace from the crown of the head to the tips of the toes, and that peace will walk before you wherever you go. It will enter a room before you enter it with a body, and those who are becoming sensitive will wonder who has come into their place. And some will even say, behold, I believe Christ has come for dinner, and you will be that one, for that is who you are, Christ eternal, Yeshua. And that's a promise.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can't hear that enough or read it enough. I mean, it's so profound and so true and so loving and yeah, all of
Yeah.
that. It's yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. I I know reading that it reverberates like just in different ways, and every time I open this book and I look at what I've highlighted before or I read a new sentence, it sinks in deeper and deeper. And when we were talking about that remembering, it's really about remembering that we are Christ.
Right.
We are Christ.
We are.
So his promise is that we will remember. And with that, there will be peace, like true peace.
Shanti Christo, peace of Christ, the peace
Yes,
of Christ.
yes,
Yeah.
yeah.
It, and it's the only thing that makes any sense.
It
Why would
really is.
why would a loving God, loving Father, God, source, creator,
Mhm.
not not give us that? Does that make sense? I mean,
Yeah.
if we believe that we are creator in, how do I put it? If we believe that we have a creator, that we are created by some infinite intelligence, then
Mhm.
just like our children here, they are a part of us.
Yeah.
They are not separate from us.
Right.
Yeah. And so we are fractals of the creator. And so we are one with creator. It's the only thing that makes any sense.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, totally.
It's, it really, for me, it was the beginning of my journey when I found this book in this study group. And The Way of the Heart talks a lot about what you said just now in all of that. It talks about desire, it talks about humility. And I can't recall right in this moment where it is, but it asks, like, did you create yourself?
Right.
and and so it brings you back to that space of humility and remembering that we are created in his image, like him.
Right.
Yeah. And
Which,
so I think it's really important to note that the way of the heart, it lays that foundation for you. So if you've never read the Course in Miracles, if you've never had any experience to this kind of thinking or this, thought pattern, that's part of what is in the way of the heart is the truth of who we are, and that
mhm,
is, we are a part of God.
yes.
We are
We
part
are
of.
God in expression. We are, and
Mhm.
he says it so many times that we are love and we are God in expression. Yeah,
Yes.
totally.
Yeah.
So, um, lesson one is titled The Way That Calls You Home.
Mhm.
And there was one part I wanted to read, and that is the first step in awakening.
Mhm.
Very, very short. The first step in
Actually
awakening.
I had
You
that
have it?
highlighted.
Of course, we did. You did. The first step in awakening is to allow into the mind the thought, the axiom, the truth that nothing which you are experiencing is caused by anything outside of you. You experience only the effects of your own choice. And that's really hard to take
Yes.
for a lot of people. For myself, a lot of
Yeah.
times. I every once in a while I might struggle with it, but I know it. I know it now. It makes,
Yeah.
yeah. So nothing which you are experiencing is caused by anything outside of you. You experience only the effects of your own choice.
Yes.
That's step one in
Yes.
awakening. So that's moving out of victimhood
Yeah.
into awareness.
Yes.
That's huge.
It is huge, and it can be, and I think this is why a live, study group is an important thing to have, because doing this alone, and we're never alone, because if you're being called to this work, Yeshua is with you. But it's hard, to do it alone, right? Where two or
Right.
more gather, the ego cannot survive, and so, like, it's hard to swallow that, because we're conditioned to believe that we could be experiencing something that's outside of us. But what I love about it is that he really goes deep into this in these first three lessons to help us understand more. But when I'm struggling now with anything, I always remember Jesus says it's always a me problem. It's always a me problem.
Hmm.
It's never outside of me.
Yeah.
And so it might be, for someone starting out with this kind of thought pattern, really hard to push through that. But once you get on the other side of that, it gives you the tools to navigate any kind of struggle with, like, okay, wait a second. First, let's look at, oh, this is my experience. I'm creating this. And then there's actually an opening to really come to a solution, from that space.
Right. Yes. And he does help with understanding how to go in and heal whatever is causing us any kind of despair
Mm-hmm.
or reaction and feeling like a victim, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
And so that's part of the lesson too. And I think that's in lesson two though.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's just so much.
There
Um,
is.
and it's
That's what I was feeling this morning. I was like, we can't talk about the way of the heart. We can't talk about any of this in 1 hour.
No, no way.
And I have a whole list of things that I didn't even get through the way of the heart. I got maybe up to lesson 6 that of
Mm.
things that I wanted to call out. And one of those is on the next page, on page 6. It says, the second paragraph, he says, the way of the heart is not the way of the intellect, for indeed that aspect of the mind was never designed to be your master.
Yeah.
It was designed to be the humble and, if you will pardon the expression, very stupid servant of the awakened heart. And I love that because it is a shift. It's a shift from that thinking, right? We think we know. He says in the
Right.
promise, let go of anything you think you know. And we're shifting from the mind leading the show to our hearts where Christ resides, where I believe Christ, the Christ in us, it's in our hearts.
Oh, totally.
But that is part of moving into the way of the heart, is to unravel the part of the mind that wants to lead and
That wants to lead and take
limit.
control. Yes. And that's what needs to happen in order for us to shift, like you said.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely. Yeah.
Yeah.
There's so much in here. um, I mean, I just opened the book and there's just so much here.
I know.
Rest assured that whenever that page on page 7, rest assured then whenever you feel frustration and anxiety, it is because you have decided not to trust the truth.
Yes.
And the truth is simply this. Excuse me. Only God's plan for salvation can work for you. Only God's plan.
Yes.
Yeah.
That is that's also a huge theme in the Course in Miracles, is that only God's plan is the only plan.
Yeah.
And I know that when we're reading these words, like, it can be really like, oh, duh, right? Like, whenever we feel frustrated, we're just not trusting the truth. And it can be hard when we're in a struggle, when we are frustrated or anxious or angry or upset, or we're having a conflict. But that's because we are created in His image. So whether it's true or not, it's as strong as the truth. Because we are that powerful. We are that powerful.
Right.
And he says too, and this might be later, because it might be in the first 3 lessons, but he does say, what you decree is. So
Yes.
if you're thinking a thought that causes you to be anxious, he says what you decree is, because we are created in His image. We are that powerful. And
we're creating it in our mind. We're creating the illusion. It's all illusion. And he says that many times.
Yes.
And yeah, he says your way must always fail, for your way begins with the illusory and insane assumption that you are a separate being from the mind of God, and must, therefore, direct your own course. For if you are sick and diseased and not at peace, why would you decide that you know how to create peace? It requires great humility to accept the first step of the path, and that is, I have done all this, I must undo it, but I have no idea how I did this.
Yes.
Therefore, I must surrender to something else. Surrender is huge.
Yeah. And that's one of the keys to the kingdom. That does come later in lesson 6, I think, where it talks about the keys to the kingdom. But yeah, I know I want to say this because I know that my mind does this. So if my mind does it, I'm sure other people do it too. It's like, we get the book, we get the lessons, we think it's just going to be smooth sailing. But what you just read, it's like, I have done this. I don't know how to undo it.
Right.
But it is only God's plan that's going to work. And so I know a lot of the times, especially when I first started, and even sometimes now, I try to apply these to fit into the illusion. And then that still doesn't work. So then that's the reminder, like, oh, it's getting off the illusion, right? Off the coin, out of the illusion is where I'm going to, find that peace where these principles, these things that he's teaching us, that's where they apply. So when it says, I don't know how to unravel this, it's because we are trying to fit those things into the illusion. We're trying
Yeah.
to apply them, but
Right. We're
that's
letting
not
our
where our
mind,
salvation is.
yes, we're letting our logical mind lead the way, and
Hmm.
which is, we're used to that.
Yeah.
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 Every morning, and I try to do try very hard, and I do it in a subconscious way sometimes, but consciously, thank Creator, thank Yeshua, thank my guides and everyone for my life and for being here, and what a blessed life I have, for my blessings, everything around me. Just
Hmm.
grateful, grateful, grateful. And then I say something to the effect of, all right, Father, God, Creator, the big kahuna, the one I know and love and loves me beyond measure,
Hmm.
help me walk this day how you would want me to. Help me be at your service throughout my day. Yeah.
Yeah.
And it really helps tremendously with me forging that connection as soon as I start the day.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. And I think that's a good, well, segue into the next lesson, which is
Yes.
creating. Um, but before that, I had I had a few other things highlighted.
Oh, okay.
So I
Yeah.
just want to see if those fit. But what you just said, I want to bookmark that. So I'm just gonna see here, page 9, final pathway. So yeah, so we will learn, right? The next lesson is where we learn how to create with God, or to let God lead. And the way of the heart is really opening us up so that we can do that. And it says here, this was what I highlighted, it says the way of the heart is the final pathway that any soul can enter. There are many stages of awakening, there are many pathways that can be followed, but ultimately all roads lead to Rome, because Yeshua is funny.
He is.
So they say, eventually each
He is.
soul must find its way into the way of the heart and come back to the truth that it's time to take responsibility, to learn to cultivate the ability to look upon the deep, ambitious blackness of what I have called ego, which is nothing more than the cesspool of denial.
Wow.
And it goes on and continues that, but he really encourages us to come back to that space of, this is my creation,
Mhm.
and it takes us out of victimhood, and there is a reward at the end of that. As hard as it may feel,
There
uh,
is.
as hard as it may feel.
Yeah, and that includes not just our inner world, I mean our uh world around us, what we've created in our, circle here. It
Mm-hmm.
includes moving out, moving out
Yeah.
from our circle, our individual circle, our personal circle, to our community out, our and then going beyond that, out, out, out globally.
Yeah.
And so we are responsible, and that's some of the lessons of Ho'oponopono, is
Yes.
that if it comes into your awareness, that means you
Mhm.
invited it in, that you allowed it in, and so
Yeah.
you are co-creating.
Yeah. That you're a vibrational match to it. I think that's
Yeah.
what I was learning before I found Way of Mastery, that if it's in my experience, I'm a vibrational match to it. And
There's
I can't
something
tell
within
you
me. Hmm.
how many times I resisted that. But what I love about this too is that, he teaches us how to look upon things with innocence.
Yes.
So I don't know where the exact quote is, but he does say that mastery is creation without fear. And to dissolve fear is to look at it, look upon it as
Right.
innocent. And so the reason that we can, kind of resist what's in our reality is our creation is because we're judging it. We're judging it to
Totally.
be a bad thing. And a lot of this book will push us in the direction of neutralizing
Yes.
everything.
He says all experiences are neutral, or everything in the illusion in the dream is neutral.
Yes.
We are the ones that place the value, the emotional value on it and thought.
Yes.
Yeah, totally.
The
Which
meaning
is
to it.
fine. He says
Mm-hmm.
it's all fine. It's awareness is the key. That's what he's always told me. Awareness is the key. As long as you're aware,
Yeah.
that's all you need to know, right?
Yeah. I have a quote um that I'm not sure where it was, but let
Lesson
me try
one,
to find it because it so perfectly matches this that he says. So mastery arises from innocence. So this is on page 18. So now we're in
lesson
creating.
two,
You create your
lesson
own
two.
experience. Uh-huh.
Yes, lesson two is you create your own experience. Or you
Mm-hmm.
create your experience.
Yes. And it says to deliberately cultivate the quality of awareness in consciousness necessary to stabilize that awareness so that you can bring it to each and every moment of your experience. And
Yes.
so, really, what we're doing here is he's teaching us how to, you know, stop and notice, okay, yeah, this is all my creation. And oh, I'm not feeling good because I don't like it. I'm judging this, right? So he's pulling us to be aware of our thoughts, aware of our judgments. So we're completely aware, the quality of awareness in consciousness
Mm-hmm.
necessary to stabilize it. And if we bring that to each and every moment and we're so present and so conscious, then we're consciously creating every moment. Like
Yes.
that's a big deal. Like that is mastery.
It's a very big deal. That was one
Yeah.
of the first things he taught me 20 years ago, 22 years ago now, 21, something
Mm-hmm.
like that, was
Yeah.
listen to my background tape. Because I'm having these conversations with him on a daily basis and all day basically, because I'm talking in my head. And I asked him a question, or he asked me a question, I can't remember. And he says, "Are you sure?" I answered him and he said, "Are you sure?" And I said, "Yes, I'm sure." And he said, "Okay, are you sure?" And I'm like, "What do you mean am I sure?" And because this is when I was hearing his voice in my head. And he said, "Listen." And I could hear in my background tape, I was apologizing. "I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm sorry." I was it was just there. I was always apologizing to him. And
Mm-hmm.
for me, for myself, I felt like a failure. And many, many, many lifetimes. Felt like I was here a long time, still do. But yeah. And he said, listen to your background tape. And I did. He didn't tell me what it was. He gave me a mantra to replace it because we all have our mantra, our background tape that we're telling ourselves. And
Mm-hmm.
that was one of the things that he impressed upon me even before I read this. And he talks about it a lot in The Way of the Heart. And the way of knowing too is pay attention to what we're put our thoughts.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Because what you decree is.
Yes. Right.
Yeah, I was just telling my kids, like I'm working with them, we actually sit and talk about, okay, what do we want to create, and what's the
Mm-hmm.
belief that's,
Awesome.
holding us from not having that in our experience. And, I was teaching them to it. I did not think of this on my own. I heard it from someone else. And so I don't know who that creator was, but this is just how I explain it. So our thoughts are literally like the script of the play or the movie. So if we have a thought that money is limitless. Like that's going to go into our script, and that's actually going to happen because what we decree is. But if we have a thought right behind it that says, oh no, that's not, we have to work hard for our money. Well, that's going to be the next scene, right?
Right. They
So
cancel each
the
other out.
awareness of our thoughts is so important. And when I first found this work, the person who was holding these groups, her name was John L. She was one of my first mentors. She would always say, "Stock your mind." Like,
Yeah.
stop yourself. And
Yeah.
I heard that and I did. I was like, oh my gosh, like what's happening? What
I
am I
love
thinking?
that. I love that. It makes so
That's
much
really
sense.
where, we get to conscious creation because we're always creating. Most of us don't know the programs, that tape that that's running. So we're not consciously
Right.
doing it, but we are doing it. So
Right.
as we become aware of that, we then can not have the tape, and we can consciously put those thoughts in there. And if we believe everything is neutral, if we really know that in our hearts, then we just notice a thought that's probably not pleasant and move on.
Like, yes, swipe it. That was one
Yes.
of my lessons in my room. When my room was a classroom, right? So he was teaching
Yeah.
me all this stuff by talking to me. I didn't have a manual. He was my counselor, my teacher, my everything.
Yeah.
And he showed me a whiteboard just in my third eye, in my vision. And he
Yeah.
said, "Okay, we're going to listen to your thoughts." And I could hear my thoughts. They were amplified, and anything that
Mm-hmm.
was and he had a scale, like a thermometer on the whiteboard type of thing, and 1 to 100 or 1 to 10, I can't remember, but 5 would be medium or in the middle. And he said, "Okay." And so when a low vibrational thought would come, he'd say, "Oh, we don't need to keep that one," and he'd swipe it. This is before we
Yeah.
were swiping phones and stuff, right?
Right.
And he'd swipe it, and then when a positive thought came in, he goes, we can keep that one." And then when a
Yeah.
lower vibrational one that made me feel bad, "No, no, we don't need to keep that." And he swiped it
Mm-hmm.
away. All right, you can keep the positive ones. And he wasn't teaching me about neutrality at that time. He was just teaching
Right.
me to have to understand what my thoughts are, and also that my thoughts are not me.
Yes.
They're not me. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And what a lot of the lessons that he gives us, I know in my experience, are what created that space for me to see that the thoughts are not me.
Right.
And I don't know how else to explain that, but it's like when we think they're us, there is no space. It's just that's the thought, and we think it's real. We believe it's real. There's nothing else that exists. It's just that is. But these exercises are what give me a little bit of space where I'm like, oh, I'm hearing that. Like I see that. And then I have the choice. And I do have another place highlighted, but he does talk about um, all we're wanting to do here is get in alignment with the mind of God.
Yeah.
And
That's what we
so
want.
when we're creating with the mind of God, it's going to be all the yummy thoughts because God wants us to be happy, joyous, and free. Those are the keys to the kingdom. We're allowed to be happy, and God's only going to give us what's going to make us happy. He's already given it to us. So
Hmm.
really what we're doing is just getting in alignment with those thoughts.
Perfect.
And they're not given to, or they're not us.
No, they're not. Our thoughts are not us.
No,
Definitely. No.
they're not ours. We didn't come up with them.
There's nothing new under the sun, as he says.
Yes. Let me find that quote that I was oh, this is the one that says, "The reason it's done is that all power has been given unto you, and what you decree is. For a man or a woman shall decree a thing, and it shall be so. You have decreed this moment. Own it. For by owning it right now, you can begin to sense the incredible and awesome power that flows through you in each moment. It is the power to create.
Yes.
And I think that for me, I just got this vision of, that if it's a really crappy situation that you're in and you don't want to own it because it's just so much easier to blame, right?
Right.
Like
Yeah.
if we can grab onto like, oh, this is the it's real. It's real right now because that's how powerful I am. This is the power to create. Like if we can just grab that thread, then maybe we can loosen it up a little bit and own it again. Like, because
Right.
when it's hard, I still struggle. When it's hard, I don't want to own it.
No, no, I don't want to, but I know I have to.
Yes.
But I don't want to. I don't want to say that's my fault, you know?
Yeah. And
But
I do want to
and
say
fault
this.
isn't a good word, but that my
Yeah.
creation. Yeah.
In those moments, I don't want to. But the evidence is when I first got sober, my sponsor said, whenever you're less than happy, joyous, and free or in a conflict, always go to these 4 words. What is my part? And I resisted that too.
Yeah.
I resisted that a lot. But the evidence is that I actually don't experience peace until I own it.
So true.
So we can resist it, we can push it off, we can not want to, that's just kind of giving ourselves some compassion for that moment, saying, okay, we don't want to. But if we want peace, right? If our desire for peace is strong enough, then
Hmm.
owning it is the path to it.
Yeah. And he ends all of his lessons with peace, peace be with
Yes.
you, or peace about peace. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
totally.
He starts every lesson with, I come to you as your friend,
Yes.
like
And
you.
now we begin.
Yes.
And, and we sit together as one, and I am like you. Yeah.
Yes.
Um, I want to read this real quick, and then we're only going to be able to do 2 lessons in this show.
I know. I was thinking that earlier too, because
Okay.
the Course in Miracles is there's a lesson for every day, 365 lessons. And what I feel in the way of mastery is that it's a much slower
Hmm.
work. It's more you take your time with it.
He says that in the beginning.
Yes.
He says that. Where is it? Let me see here. Yes, you hold in your hands the treasured teachings of Yeshua ben Yosef, Jesus, one of
Mhm.
the greatest masters humankind has ever known. Please do
Yeah.
not hurry as you read through each lesson. Rather,
Yes.
allow each sentence to be held within the heart, each idea to fill the mind and the body with its very real frequency or vibration. For each word, the structure of each sentence, the cadence, and the humor is by design.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
So we're right where we're supposed to be.
we
Two
are
lessons.
2 lessons. I just want to end with this one thing right here. You were talking about peace, and that's so important.
Yeah.
It's so important. I remember I would beg and pray on my knees for peace of mind 20 something years ago when I was going through my quickening. I would
Yeah.
beg for it, peace of mind.
Yeah.
And it was my mind that was
Yeah.
out of alignment. So, peace flows from alignment with the mind of God.
Yeah.
Therefore, the pathway of awakening, the way of the heart, must begin with, let me move this, with the decision to embrace the truth that is true always. And that is, I am a creator of all that I think and see and experience. I am free always. Nothing impinges upon me but the thoughts I have chosen to hold within. Nothing imprisons me but my own perception of imprisonment. Nothing limits me at any level or dimension of experience save that which I have chosen. Yeah. Yeah.
I love that he does say that often in this book all the time. The truth is true always.
Yes.
And I want to just add to this for anyone who might be, just getting started on a journey of awakening or hearing what we're saying and maybe someone who has a natural tendency to go into beating themselves up, like peace is actually the motivating desire for everything we do.
Right.
When I was, deep in my addictions, my desire wasn't, oh, let's make things worse in my life. That was
No.
not.
No. Yeah.
And so whatever we're doing is really to feel better. It's really, we're always reaching for that peace. And this work, he just outlines how to get to true peace, not those moments of instant gratification or what appears to be illusory peace. It's
Right.
real. It's
Yes.
real. And yeah, we're all lovable. Like wherever we're at, we're all innocent. We're all lovable. And
Mhm.
that's really what I get from his teachings, is that we can't do anything wrong. We just really
No,
can't.
we
There's
can't.
nothing, I think you said this when I interviewed, there's nothing that we could do that he,
No.
I think we're frozen. Oh no.
Yes. Yes. Can you hear me? I'll
Okay.
start.
When I was interviewing you, I remember you said that when you looked in his eyes, you knew that there was nothing, like you could not do anything that would cause him to stop loving you.
Oh, I've got goosebumps. So true. Yes. So
And that's
true.
true for all of us,
It's
every single one of us.
all of us could, because we are all one.
Yeah,
And there's nothing, I mean, just like your child, there was nothing your child could do that would make
yeah,
you stop loving your child. No
yeah,
difference.
yeah.
Yeah.
Same. Very.
All encompassing. Thank you, Christina.
Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you. I'm really excited about this series. It's just
I
so.
know. Me too. Me too. Definitely. So, Christina, share a little bit about the work you do outside of this.
Yeah, so I do a lot of different things. I help women in recovery find their path to recovery, or if they're on a path to recovery, I do that. I'm a life coach, so whatever it is that you might be struggling with, wherever you are with your spiritual beliefs, we start there and we just expand and reach for what it is that you're wanting. And then I also am a co founder and facilitator of the United Hearts Connection Project. And what we do there is we create opportunities for people to come together and communicate from a place of authenticity. And when I say authenticity, I mean from that place of pure spirit and love that we are. And so when we're talking about the way of mastery, we're doing that right in our minds. But when we come together in these authentic relating places for connection, we're shedding those conditionings in real time as
Mhm.
we're connecting.
Nice.
And it's really beautiful. We do online events, we do retreats, we'll come to your community. So we're all over the place with with this authentic relating and connection.
Perfect. Perfect. And you can find Christina on Kumara Academy website if you'd like to book a session with her, or just send her a message, whatever you'd like. And also, please join the Academy so that you can join us in some of the meetings. We have lots of, it's a work in progress, but we have lots of really exciting stuff that we have. Christina's helping me with the Academy, with the website, because it looks so beautiful. She's done such an amazing job. I have to give her kudos. And yeah, totally. Um,
I
it's
do want to say that on your site on the Kumar Academy, it only has that I offer spirit sessions because I am a medium, I am a psychic, I can read you for you. But if you do want to get a hold of me, you can email me or find me through the Academy if you want to explore anything else that I offer.
good. Thank you so much, everyone, for watching. We will be back with lots of great way of mastery sharings and bringing Christ into the room, just like he said in the beginning, and you will find that Christ entered the room, and he means all of us. All right. Thanks, Christina.
Thank you so much.
Okay. Bye-bye. I'm Sharon Kumara, and you have been listening to Awakened Soul Radio on Transformation Talk Radio. I invite you to embark on a transformative journey with us. Awakened Soul is a safe, sacred space for exploring the depths of our consciousness. Each episode, you will be inspired to shed the illusions that bind you, connect more deeply with your inner wisdom, and step into a liberating life of freedom, clarity, and purpose. To connect with me, visit kumaraacademy.com.